Somalia is a member country of various international groupings, among them the Organization of African Unity, the Arab League, and the Organization of Non-Aligned Countries. Today, it speaks as a voice in the world at large, a voice to whose views on international relations and foreign policy the world pays ever-increasing attention and respect. In 1974, African heads of state assembled in Mogadishu, the Somali capital, to see President Siad take his turn as chairman of the Organization of African Unity. In his opening speech to the summit meeting, the president talked at length about Somalia's domestic and foreign policy since the revolution. In referring to her progressive stand on matters of mutual concern such as the post-colonial heritage, he assured his listeners of Somalia's support, both moral and material, for progressive and liberation movements and governments throughout the African continent. In particular, he singled out the southern countries of the continent, Zimbabwe and South Africa, whose peoples still suffered the iniquities of direct colonial rule. June the 8th, 1976. This was the day on which the Supreme Revolutionary Council endorsed the creation of a new civilian socialist party to which it could confidently entrust the future government of the Somali nation. It was to be a socialist party of national consent. Such an experience was totally new to Somalia, and yet after so many years of struggle, development and achievement, the SRC was satisfied its job was done and the time had come to relinquish military rule. In their resolution to this effect, they thereby fulfilled their final pledges of the first and second charters of the revolution. For 7 long years, the SRC had worked to make Somalia's people proud of their own history, alive to past mistakes, and politically conscious of their future responsibility. Now the people gathered to put all this to the test. It was the first time that delegates from all sectors of the country's life had ever met to have a say in the nation's future. Over 3,000 of them, workers, young people, women, all proving in their speeches just how ready for their new role they were, and how willing. Now President Siad asked for nominations to the Politburo and offices of the new party. By a unanimous show of hands, he was himself elected Secretary General, and so the other officers were likewise voted into being. One by one in their nomination speeches, the various national and local delegates expressed their support for the SRC resolution. The party's foundation was voted on and approved, together with all its principal officers. In all, 5 members of the SRC were voted onto the new Politburo. Vice President Ismail congratulated the delegates on their democratic conduct of the election and their willing assumption of responsibility. For his part, as leader of the October Revolution, President Siad was awarded a specially cast medal from the Somali people. Then came the turn of the armed forces. They had been the spine and sinews of the October Revolution, and now, unit by unit, they entered the election hall. One by one, their officers pledged their loyalty for the newly elected Socialist Party and assured the new civilian government of their unqualified support as the nation moved onward toward the achievement of its next goal, the creation of a unified, democratic nation, fit and ready to take its full part among the progressive peoples of the world. Next to come in were the children, many of them born since the October Revolution. Representing the future of the country, they came in to join their elders in celebrating the new age of which their good fortune had made them a part. In his closing speech for the day, President Siad spoke proudly of the delegates' evident spirit, sincerity, and of their obvious will for national unity. And he had also a special word for the children present, promising them that the new party would see them through to still better times in days to come. Hero of Somalia medals were then presented by President Siad to every member of the outgoing SRC, who had fought with and steered the revolution since its beginning in 1969. One by one, the members of the former government received their medals from the president. Finally, in his turn, the president received the same medal for his part also in the revolution. The third day of the meeting was spent by the delegates in discussions on the new party's constitution. In his closing speech, President Siad added his voice to those of many others when he stressed those clauses in it that made it a living part of the continuing drive towards full national unity and progress. Following this, he appealed to all Somalis, whatever their place in life, to pledge total support for the fledgling Socialist Party. And already crowds were gathering in the streets outside the conference center to applaud and cheer the new party's creation. The day after the meeting closed, the new party's Central Committee sat for the first time to take stock of the enormous responsibilities that now lay on their shoulders. In the streets and public places of Mogadishu and other cities, people were turning out by the thousand to demonstrate their support. To one such rally in Mogadishu, President Siad came out to speak. He said how glad he was to sense their genuine enthusiasm for the party. Today, he said, we are entering a new era in which every individual will find complete freedom in fulfilling his responsibilities to those around him and to the nation as a whole. No sooner had the party been legally established than political orientation courses were started for party members. Given their heavy new responsibilities, the courses were designed to extend, deepen and develop to the full their political education and awareness that had first been coaxed into life back in the orientation centers of the revolution. At a major press conference, the Minister of Information briefed all foreign correspondents in the country on the background, formation and purpose of the party. We felt it was time, he said. Our nation is ready now and able to support such a movement. At the same conference, he answered questions on the new constitution, pointing out details of its social and economic clauses. To a question on its origins, he reminded his audience that the answer lay in the mandate of the Somali people. Party membership cards, now printed, are today being issued in growing numbers to the public, eager at last to play a personal role in the life and decisions of their nation. And so the Somali people have crossed the threshold of a new future.